Good evening and welcome to the APPF1 Sprint Championship. We're here for the latest chapter of the championship, this Sprint Championship. We've got two races lined up, the first of those being Mexico. How this will work is a short qualifying of 18 minutes to determine the first race, and the result of this 25% race distance event will determine the reverse grid for the second race, which will be in Hungary. So as far as the Sprint Championship is concerned, Ted 420 in the Red Bull leads on 35 points, and it's Knowing Light in second on 34. UF King Gremlin is also on 34 points, and it's Patterson 33. Vardy in fifth with 32. Scott in sixth in 30. Scott M89 in sixth with 31, and Bluey 585 in seventh with 30. So 5 points separating the top 7 drivers in the championship. And qualifying should be starting, unless we are going straight to a grid. So we are in qualifying now, but this is a one-shot qualifying, not an 18-minute session, so I do apologise for the mix-up. Let's go to Ted, shall we? I'll go to Knowing Light, actually. We'll stay with Knowing Light for this once. We're not having to hop around each driver. They all set in their times at the same time as each other, which will speed things up a lot more. Knowing Light completes in sector 1 of a 28.4, which will see him. I think he will be in the frame for pole position here. We'll shortly find out who will be on pole by the end of the session. And King Gremlin's retired from the session, so presumably he's exceeded track limits at some point during the lap, so he will start at the back of the grid. Knowing Light is still in there though. He's about to complete his lap, which will put him, I would say, maybe in the top 5. See in a moment. In fact, he's not in the top 5. He's only 9th at the moment. Could go even further down than that by the time this session has ended. But Vardy QTR is on pole position for Red Bull, unless TDB Max 08 can better that. And apparently not. But T727 has gone to pole position. We'll find out in a moment on the classification. And it is tier 727. Presumably will be starting on pole. Then we've got Vardy QTR in second, and it's Ted 420. Aces versus Kings is in 4th. Ahead of G Ghost in 5th. Octavian Racer is in 6th. P4 LFS. P4 is in 7th, ahead of Kington. Then it's TTV Max. Hephaesius, Knowing Lights, Sumo Gilligan. Wayne is in 13th, ahead of Pleasant. Then S-Man in 15th. Keezer Geezer in 16th. QB Phil is 17th, ahead of Norwich Fan. Dovelar 919 and UF King Gremlin starting at the back of the grid. There's no points for qualifying, but points are enough for the race. Now, if you are new to this particular league, the point system for this works out differently to what it does in most leagues. Instead of 25 points for the race victory, you get 20, and every finisher gets points. So the race winner gets 20, second place gets 19, and then third for 18, down to 20th with the 1 point, providing they do finish, of course. If they don't finish the race, I presume or assume that you do not get points. So finishing races are crucial if you want to be in contention for the championship. And the point system for the second race, which is the reverse grid race, the point system works the same. And you also get a fastest lap point as well, regardless of where you finish. Which could change the shape of the championship most drastically each race that happens, which makes it very, very exciting indeed. So to let you know, 25% races. So for Mexico City, it'll be an 18-lap race. We should get this done in just under half an hour's time. Just waiting for the drivers to complete their race strategies. We are expecting pit stops in this. Some may decide to start on the softs, some may go on the mediums. But in terms of pit strategy, it shouldn't be too different, as it is pretty much a sprint race from start to the checkered flag. So just waiting for the drivers to complete their race and fuel strategies. We are less than 30 seconds away from either the start of the formation lap, or we'll be going straight into the race itself. So the time ticks down. We'll wait in a moment whether the drivers are going to... So it is going to be a formation lap, so this is a good opportunity to see which tyres each driver is on what. And every driver, apart from Patterson in the Williams, who starts 14th, and Duvlar in the Alfa Romeo, who will start 19th, everyone else is on... someone's gone into the barrier already on the formation lap. But not that it'll make any difference in regards to grid position, but not something that you want to see. And tier 727 seems to have stopped there. It may just be a glitch. So that's all you need to know. So Vardy QTR will lead the field round. Well, I say he'll lead the field. It should be Tia, who in the Mercedes should be leading them round. He may choose to get his place on the grid back. Not that it's important anyway. He will be on the grid regardless. But Vardy looking to extend his lead over everyone else in this Sprint Championship. So, in a few moments' time, the first race of today will get underway. Round 2 of the APPF1 Sprint Championship. So who will come away with the honours in this first race of the day? You can see Tier 1 taking his grid position. Everyone seems to be on the grid now. The 5 lights will come on shortly. And we do go out. We'll begin here in Mexico City. Just waiting for those lights to illuminate. Here we go. Lights out, and away we go. And Tia gets off to a good start, but not so from the second Red Bull of behind of Ted, who's lost ground there. But Vardy's made a reasonable start, but it's Aces vs King, who's made a brilliant start in the Renault up into third position. But he's got a Haas and a Racing Point pulling alongside. The Red Bull locks up in front of him. I think Tier 1 has had a moment somewhere. In fact, he's spun round at turn 1. So Tia, from pole position, has dropped well down the field, and that's a really disastrous start for him. But Vardy, the championship leader, has taken the lead. It's Aces vs Kings in second. Hephaestus is in third, ahead of Ted, then Kington, Octavian Racer, G-Ghost, Wayne, Padson, and Known Light rounding out the top 10. And we've got drivers trying to find space on this narrow part of the racetrack. You can see Simo Gilligan running in 14th place. There's more debris flying in the air. So I'm not sure who's got damage. It looks like the Haas has got damage. Has Tia got damage to his Mercedes? It seems not. So he should be able to make up ground after a really disastrous start. Vardy still leading the way ahead of Aces in second place. It's Hephaestus Arm in third place. Then it's Ted, Octavian Racer, Kingston, G-Ghost, Wayne, Knowing Light, and Ufkin Gremlin, who's done brilliantly from the back of the grid to get up into 10th place. So a great start there from the McLaren. Still got some way to go yet. It says it's lap 3, although it's not lap 3. It's actually lap 2, because we have only completed one lap so far. And as ever, the graphics not quite as accurate as they should be at the moment. But it's Vardy who's currently leading, and we have got drivers in the pits. QBVII in the AlphaTauri is one of them. He may just be the only driver that's come into the pits, actually. He'll go on a set of the mediums. He'll probably go to the end of the race on those. He may get a safety car, which would come in handy for him. But Tia was also in the pits with damage. So what you're seeing at the moment on the leaderboard is not the correct order as far as the race is concerned. And you have got a yellow flag somewhere. Someone's had a moment or something. So Vardy continuing to lead over Aces in second place. Then it's Arm in third place, followed by Ted. And then we've got Octavian Racer in 5th position, ahead of Kington. G-Ghost right behind the Ferrari. Just waiting to see the leaderboard updating itself properly now, and it has done. We've got a battle here for 3rd place between Ted and Hephaestus Arm. And it looks as though the racing plane may have the better line, but it's the Red Bull who puts his Red Bull in front of him. And Ted is back up into 3rd place there, so really good fighting there between those two drivers. And we've got G-Ghost going past the Ferrari of Kington to put his Mercedes up into 6th place. UF King getting ahead of his teammate as well, continuing his great fight back. We are only on that 3 out of 18. And Kington's got a 3-second time penalty. Now, with it being a sprint race as well, this should, change things, the time penalties, especially if you do have a safety car just before the end. But that's something we can look at later on. Vardy continuing to lead, but Aces is less than a second behind him, so should he stay within that distance, he should be, well, say distance, he stays within that margin of the Red Bull, he should have DRS next time the drivers do use it. It won't be on this lap, because they are only just completing the second lap of the race, and also, well, in fact, he might be able to use DRS now, because we are on lap 4. So Aces King does use his DRS now. He's out of DRS range to Ted behind him, but he's most certainly going to be able to close in on the other Red Bull in front, that is Vardy. So have a look further behind to see if there's any other battles. You can see Octavian Racer trying to go around the outside, and Arm in the racing point. He went over the curbs through the turns 1, 2 and 3 section, losing ground and losing the position there to the Haas. And we've got UF King Gremlin round the outside there of the Mercedes, as Octavian Racer's got a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. Not good news for him, so he'll need to try and pull out a gap on the others if he's to keep hold of 4th position or higher. Gremlin's the latest as well. I think we're going to see a mammoth amount of time penalties being dished out to the drivers throughout this one. Kington under pressure from the McLaren of Knowing Light, who goes round the outside, down the inside into the stadium section, and that's 8th place for Knowing Light. Kington down to 9th. We've got Wayne and Patterson in the two Williams cars battling over the 10th position. Patterson should get this done here because Wayne's not going to have DRS because he wasn't within a second behind Kington at the detection point. So Patterson on the medium compound should sail past his teammate, which he does, and I think the Renault of Sumo Gilligan is going to follow through as well, and he does. In fact, Gremlin's had a moment at turns 2 and 3, and he's lost ground there, and he's dropped a few places in the process. So he's already falling back down the order after a phenomenal start, and now he's side by side with the Williams of Patterson, and he's lost 9th place to the Williams. Sumo Gilligan in 11th place, ahead of Davilar, who's made a good start from the back of the grid up to 12th. And Vardy continuing to lead in the Red Bull. He's only 4/10 ahead of Aces, who is going to be right on the gearbox of the Red Bull when they get to the DRS zone on the start-finish straight. Kington's the latest to get a time penalty. With DRS, can Aces pull out a brilliant move into turn 1 to take the lead here? We are now on lap 6. Vardy makes a mistake, but keeps hold of the lead for now. Aces looking to maybe complete a move into turn 4. It's going to be difficult from there. Vardy locks up again. No change of position. And T has been disqualified for parking in a dangerous location, so that's no points for him in this race. The good news, at least anyway, is that he'll start at the back of the grid for the reverse grid race later on, which will come in around half an hour's time. Seems to have this constant feature of the yellow flag. I wonder if that may be a glitch or something, so just try not to be enticed with that too much. We want to be focusing on the battle for the lead. Aces is closer than before, but is he going to be able, with the yellow flag zone's gone from there now, so I think Ace is going to be too far back to do it here. It might push the Red Bull into mistakes. Another lock up there from Vardy. And we've got drivers in the pits now as well, particularly those on the soft compound. Ted is one of them. Kington's another. G-Ghost as well. And Max has had a moment in the Ferrari. Down to 19th. Vardy defending brilliantly from Aces. Now, remember, you know, unlike in Formula 1 where there's a 7-point difference between winning a race and finishing second, there's only a 1-point difference between winning the race and finishing second. So the championship is very, very key here. You don't want to be taking too many risks just by trying to overtake a guy in front and then risking either getting a grid penalty or risking causing a collision and not getting that many points at all. So points is key in this particular league and this championship. Consistency is the key ingredient to success. Aces is closer than ever, and in fact Vardy is coming into the pits. Aces will take command of the race for now, but will he keep it by the time he does pit? We're now on lap 8, getting to the halfway point of this one. Octavian Racer also in the pits. Gremlin going up into 3rd place in the McLaren. And I wonder where Vardy will rejoin. Will he have track position by the time he rejoins? Not really. He is ahead of Ted though, who pitted a lap earlier. But Vardy does rejoin in 9th place on the road. So Aces looking to extend. Margin incomplete. The overcut on Vardy. Not easy to do that on a short lap here like the odds driver Mohamed Rodriguez. So far 6 drivers have got time penalties. We'll have a look at them before the end of the race to see who could potentially lose what after the checkered flag. Aces does decide to pit this lap. Can he get out in front of Vardy, who is past the Williams of Wayne? Will he regain the lead from Aces King by the time the Renault gets out of the pits? And the answer is, well, there's Aces, but I think Vardy's going to have enough momentum to take back the lead here, and he does so. So Vardy takes back the lead of this race here in Mexico. And G goes with the fastest up of the race so far. Aces King getting by S-Man, who's yet to pit. So Gremlin takes the lead in the McLaren, but he's yet to pit. Davila the same, Sumo Gilligan, Patterson, those top four have yet to pit also. So in reality, it's very much Vardy, Aces and Ted in the top three positions, effectively. Gremlin does have that time penalty as well in the McLaren. I wonder if he'll decide to pit at the end of this lap. And the answer is yes, he does. So he comes in from the lead. Will Davila do the same? In fact, Gremlin's got another 5 seconds that was going to be added, as does Davila. Sumo Gilligan gets away with it. Patterson is the latest race leader. Vardy's right behind him though. So Patterson's got a time penalty now for exceeding track limits. So the drivers who have yet to stop in this race, the only one is Patterson, who's leading. Vardy right behind. Yellow flags galore at the moment. Now on lap 10. Patterson continuing to lead. So far, almost coming up to a back marker at the moment. That'll be Norwich Fun, who has not had a good race so far, but should he remain 18th, he would start third for the reverse grid race at the Hungaroring shortly after this. But you can see Aces right behind the race leader of Vardy in the battle for effectively the lead. I think Vardy's going to have DRS though on the start-finish straight, because he's going to be within a second of Patterson come the detection point. And Patterson decides to stay out on his mediums. Aces and Vardy will tussle it out nevertheless. On the start-finish straight they go. And I think Vardy's going to take the lead here from Patterson. And he does so down the inside. Patterson's not going to make it easy. In fact, he's trying to make it as hard as he can for Vardy. Vardy gets through, but Ace has lost crucial ground to the Red Bull in front, which is not good news for him. Coming through. It says it's a yellow flag zone, but it's not. And Ace is determined to get in front. Patterson running him out wide. Next at turn 6. And Sumo Gilligan, the latest to get a time penalty. And Ace is looking to get past the Williams now. So they're coming up to the back marker of Norwich Fun, gets out of the way. Ted will look to follow through as well. And I think Patterson may choose to come in at the end of this lap to get those soft tyres on. He could play a factor in this race as well. As far as I know, he doesn't. I think he does have a time penalty to his name. Aces King looking to get in front of Vardy with DRS. Vardy won't have DRS on this occasion. And Vardy locks up like he did so before on the earlier stint. Aces King will have another go. He'll have DRS before they get to turn 4. DRS wide open. Does the Renault driver make a lunge into turn 4? Not on this occasion. But he will be back for more though. And Patterson rejoined in 12th place, but on much fresher tyres than, well, I say much fresher tyres, he's at least a lap fresher tyres than a lot of the others out on circuit. So the top two don't have time penalties at the moment. Ted, Octavian Racer, Knowing Light, Gremlin, those four have time penalties. Face to Storm does not. Octavian Racer has another 3 seconds added, so whilst we're watching the battle for the lead, we'll take an opportunity to have a look at which drivers have got time penalties, or how much each driver's got time penalties anyway. So Ted's got 3 seconds, Octavian Racer's got 11, Knowing Light has got 3, and Gremlin's got 8. And that's going to help Face to Storm massively in this race, get him a few more points, should he not get a time penalty. Either way, we've got 6 laps to go in this one. Vardy continuing to lead. Aces King right behind him. Coming through turn 4. This is a great battle to watch. Vardy defending his line well. Going to be in for a barnstorming finish here. There's Ted in the background. He's not really in play for the victory at the moment. His time penalty wouldn't drop him down a place. He'd still finish on the podium and get 18 points. The driver who's got the fastest lap of the race at the moment, just trying to see who's got the fastest lap, that's Davila in the Alfa Romeo. So 5 laps to go here. Ace has got DRS again, but he's too far back to make a lunge on Vardy ahead of him. Got a good exit out of turns 2 and 3. Is he going to go for it into turn 4? The answer is no. Still too far back to do it. Vardy locks up again. And Aces King's going to go on the inside into turn 6. Does he do it there? Not quite. Vardy got enough momentum on the exit, although Aces is going to be side by side with him. Coming into turn 7, 8. Aces King goes off the track. Now, I'm not sure if that's going to be allowed. I'm sure he overtook... Yeah, he's given the place back to him because he overtook him by going off the racetrack. Octavian Racer's got another 3 seconds added to his time penalty, which will hamper him a lot at this rate. Aces versus Kings, looking to put the Red Bull under pressure now. I wonder if he's going to wait until the very last lap to do it, because once he's got ahead of him, he's not going to have the luxury of the DRS unless he's behind a back marker ahead of him. He's going to go for it anyhow. This time, on the start-finish straight, does Aces versus Kings takes the lead, and finally he does with 4 laps remaining. Aces Kings takes the lead from Vardy with 4 laps to go. Vardy in second place. He'll be disappointed to lose the lead, but he'll be thinking more about the championship at the moment. As it stands going into the next race, Vardy finishing second would not lose the lead in the title race, as Aces versus Kings, who didn't compete last time out, he'll get his first points of the season. Vardy would extend his lead. Well, I say it's extend his lead. Ted will still be in front in the title race going into the next round, but Vardy would be a point closer to him. So the gap would be 2 points between Vardy and Ted. Vardy's going to have DRS though, as will Aces versus Kings, because he was within a second behind the back marker of Max ahead of him. Coming on to the start-finish straight now. Both drivers with DRS. So there's not going to be a change at the front. Got Knowing Lights, who has got a time penalty of 11 seconds less than Octavian Racer, but he gets by him on the road anyway. I'm not sure if the Haas driver is going to fight it out that much. And it's 4th place for Knowing Lights. He would finish 4th as it stands, given the gaps that we have at the moment. Vardy looking to get back the lead he had lost a lap ago. Will he be able to do it on this occasion? He's 7 tenths behind as he opens the DRS before they get down to turn 12 as they enter the baseball section, or the baseball stadium section I should say. Aces versus Kings. A little bit too deep there into turn 13, but he got away with it. We're on to the start-finish straight now to begin the penultimate lap. Vardy's going to have DRS on this occasion. DRS wide open. But he's going to be too far back to do it from there. Vardy stays behind Aces versus Kings. He may have another go. He'll be closer to him with the DRS again, coming out of turn 3. And Octavian Racer's got back ahead of Knowing Lights, although he won't keep that 4th place with his mammoth time penalty. That's going to drop him down massively. So you see the AlphaTauri of what looks like QB getting out of the way of the leaders. So far down the field. In fact, the Giza, who doesn't have a time penalty, is 16 seconds behind the nearest driver ahead of him, which is S-Man. And even with the time penalties ahead of Giza, he wouldn't be able to gain any positions. But he would start from 5th on the grid for the race in Hungary. Meanwhile, the battle for the lead continues on between Aces versus Kings. This is the last time Vardy will be using DRS on the start-finish straight. The top 2 begin their final lap now. Vardy will have DRS on this occasion. Aces versus Kings won't do. I'm not sure if Vardy's going to take too much of a risk on this occasion. And Gremlin's had a moment somewhere. He's dropped down to 10th place. He's got a huge time penalty to his name as well. He might just drop down a position or 2. In fact, Gremlin's got a time penalty to his name and he's left the session as well. But I think with him completing enough laps, he's completed 17 of the 18 laps, so he may just keep hold of whatever position he finishes, which would give him points. Vardy, right behind Aces versus Kings. Just half a second between them as they come round to the last set. So this is going to be the last time Vardy uses DRS, and he's now got a time penalty, so that's his victory. His chances of victory gone now. Aces versus Kings can afford to take it easy with just a few more turns to get through. There's the confetti bean exploding in the background there. Aces versus Kings rounds the last corner. He wins in Mexico, his first race in this championship, and he wins ahead of Vardy, who comes home in 2nd place. Ted in 3rd position to keep hold of the lead in the Sprint Championship. Knowing Light comes home in 4th place because Octavian Race is going to drop down with his big time penalty. Davila is going to be 5th as a result of that. Arm finishes 6th. Patterson in 7th. Octavian Racer in 8th place. It's G-Ghost ahead of Sumo Gilligan. Kingston in 11th place. Wayne will come home, I should think, in 12th ahead of S-Man. P4 LFS in the Alfa Romeo will be 14th. Kieski for 15th ahead of QBVII in 16th, and it's Gremlin. Norwich fan I should say. Then it's Gremlin, then it's Max. And Tia will start from reverse grid pole, but because he didn't complete 90% of the race distance, he won't get that championship point for 20th. But a good victory nevertheless for Aces versus Kings. 20 points to his name. Good stuff indeed. Ted keeps hold of the lead of the championship. He's 2 points clear of Vardy, who's his nearest challenger. No Light still in there as well. Gremlin with a lot of work to do. He's lost crucial ground in the title race. But we are only in round 2 of the championship, 3 races done. And we should expect to see more wheel-to-wheel action in the second race of today, which will be coming very, very shortly. I'm just waiting for Max to cross the line. He hasn't actually crossed the line as far as I know. Should be a checker flag next to his name. So just waiting for the classification to be coming up. But a good victory for Aces versus Kings. Qualified high, did very, very well. Great start. And coming through to finish in a brilliant first place and 20 points to his name. Just want to see who got the fastest lap. I think it was Davila, I believe, who got the fastest lap. Yeah, it was. So he gets an extra point for that. Not too shabby. Now, I wonder if they're waiting for Max to get over the line. He has already gone across the line as he was a lap behind, but I wonder if he needs to get past Gremlin in order to confirm that he finishes on track. That shouldn't really be the case. According to the clock on there, it says 15 seconds remaining, so that should bring this particular race to an end. And we'll have Hungary coming up in a few moments' time. So Max will be crossing over the line now. And still somehow the race hasn't properly ended. Just trying to find out to see what's going on at the moment. So you have just joined us. We're just waiting for the race to be completely done. And the drivers are told to remain in this lobby for the reverse grid, as the grid will be customised by the host of the lobby. So whilst we're waiting for the race to be completely done, which it is, but we're just waiting for the classification to come up, we'll have a look at the championship standings. In fact, the race is now finally done at last. That took a while, didn't it? So a brilliant job from Aces versus Kings. Did very, very well, as did Davila, actually. Driver of the day. Do you know what? I couldn't agree more. Davila did brilliantly from the back of the grid to get himself up into 5th place. Excellent job. And getting the fastest lap to put the icing on the cake for him. 2 Red Bulls on the podium. A brilliant job from those drivers, looking to extend their lead. Well, I say extend their lead. They have taken the lead from McLaren, who are really, really poor in this race. The Red Bull taking the lead by quite some margin, picking up 37 points. McLaren getting only what I believe is 19. So Aces versus Kings, the winner, ahead of Vardy, then it's Ted, Knowing Light in 4th, then it's Davila. Hephaestus Arm is in 6th, ahead of Patterson. Octavian Racer in 8th, G-Ghost in 9th, Sumo Gilligan 10th, Kingston in 11th, then it's Wayne in 12th, ahead of P4 LFS. Geezer in 14th, ahead of QB VII, followed by Max, Norwich Fan, S-Man, UF King Gremlin, and Tia, who did not finish, wasn't classified, so he doesn't get the point for finishing in 20th. So we just want to have a look to see who has leaped for, well, just have a look at the championship standings, because Ted has added 18 points to his total, which takes him on to 53. Vardy, with his 2nd place, that takes on to 51. Aces versus Kings is on 20, because that's his first race of the championship. Who else is in there? Patterson with his 7th place, which would give him a total of, let's have a look, just trying to work out my maths. That gives him 14 points to his 33, so that puts him on 47. UF King Gremlin with his 19th place finish, he's on 36. Knowing Light with his 4th place, that puts him on 51 points. So the top 3 separated by 2 points going into the second race of today, which will be at Hungaroring in Budapest in a few moments' time. So the session saying it's ending in 15 seconds, but we'll find out in a moment. When the event should begin with the customized grid. I'm sure it's been sorted out by the host of the lobby. Hopefully it won't be too long before we do get going. Just so that you know, there's no qualifying for this one. It's a complete reverse grid. So the last place driver in the race of this starts on pole, which is Tia. The last place driver is the race winner of this, which is Aces versus Kings. So there's no qualifying for this. It's a straight 25% race distance event from start to finish. For the Hungaroring, I believe it's 18 laps. So it's the same number of laps as it was in Mexico City. So we're just waiting for the host to set up the grid, which shouldn't take too long. And then we'll be underway here in Hungary. And as far as the team's championship is concerned, Red Bull picking up 37 points in all of that. McLaren with a 4th place finish and 19th. That gives them 19 points, which puts them on 87. Red Bull have 104. So 17-point gap between them and McLaren. Mercedes drivers, well, Gigos was the only finisher out of the two. He picks up a total of 12 points, which puts Mercedes' total to 73. Williams with Patterson in 7th. And the other Williams of Wayne in 12th. So that's 14 plus 9. That's 23. That adds Williams' total of 60 up to 83. So Williams move up to 3rd in the championship. Just 4 points behind McLaren. Alfa Romeo, who were on 45 points before the first race. Davilar's 5th, and the other Alfa Romeo of P4 LFS was 13th. So that's a total of 16 plus 8. That's 24, which adds Alfa Romeo's total of 45. That takes them up to 69. Now Renault, with their 1st and 10th, so that's 20 plus 11, that's 31. That takes their total up to 69 as well. And just to correct myself, Davilar's fastest lap point adds another one to Alfa Romeo's tally as well as his. That takes him on to 70 points. QB7, yeah. So if the Alpha Tauri driver, of what you could see is QBVII, that's in fact QB7. Because VII is 7 in Roman numerals, so thank you for informing me that. definitely makes it easier for myself. So all 20 drivers are in the lobby. We're just waiting for the grid to be formed. Reverse grid of the Mexico results. If you haven't seen the race, now is your opportunity to go back and watch it on catch up. So I hope to find out, hopefully in a few minutes time, the second race of today will begin. Just looking in the APPF1 Racing community chat. Shouldn't be too long. And P4 LFS is apparently the host of this lobby, who will be the one setting up the grid. So drivers have just been informed that when P4 LFS, who is racing in the Alfa Romeo, once he sets up the grid, that's when we'll begin racing. Hopefully in a few moments time. So whilst you're waiting, now is a good opportunity to make yourself a cup of tea or something. Have a bit of Sunday lunch or whatever it is you're doing on this lovely sunny afternoon where I am in the UK. I don't know what the weather's like over where you are. All 20 drivers are in the lobby. Just to inform you of the calendar for this season, last weekend it was Austin and Abu Dhabi. Today has been Mexico, we've just done, then it'll be Hungary. This time next week it'll be Silverstone and Singapore. And the 2nd of May we'll see the shorter version of Bahrain being used, and France at Paul Ricard. Then on the 9th of May it's Spa and Zandvoort. The 16th of May will be Canada and Bahrain. The Grand Prix layout of it. The 23rd of May will see the Sprint Championship go to Baku and the Red Bull Ring. And the season finale will be on the 30th of May at Monaco and Brazil. And apparently this is season 2 of the Sprint Championship. Last season saw G Ghost in the Williams come out on top by 29 points over Scott's M89, both of which are competing in this season. Vardy was third on 233 and Double R in fourth in the Haas on 227. So very close championship indeed. In the teams championship, Williams won with 553 points over Haas in second on 486. I'm sure Williams wish they could be at the top of the table in real life Formula One. Can G Ghost make up for lost time or lost ground in the second season? Looking at the championship standings in terms of where he is, before Mexico, I'm not sure if he was in before Mexico. He didn't do USA or Abu Dhabi last week. So he picked up his first points of the season with his 9th place finish. That gives him 12 points. So he's got a mountain to climb if he was to retain his title this time around. So just to confirm the reverse grid, it will be Aces versus Kings on pole ahead of Vardy. Sorry, not Aces versus Kings. It'll be Tia on pole, on reverse grid pole. Then it's Max in second alongside him. Then it's Gremlin in third in the McLaren. S-Man in fourth. Norwich Fan in fifth. QP7 in sixth ahead of Keezer Geezer. Then it's P4 LFS in eighth ahead of Wayne in ninth. Kingston will make up the top 10 on the grid. Sumo Gilligan will be 11th, followed by G-Ghost. Octavian Racer in 13th, ahead of Patterson. Hephaestus Arm and Davalar on row 8. Knowing Light and Ted on row 9. And making up the grid will be Vardy, who finished second in the Mexican race. And Aces versus Kings bringing up the grid. We expect to see the top guys making their way through the field very, very quickly. On a track like Hungary, where overtaking can tend to be very, very challenging, as it has done over the years in Formula 1. We expect overtaking to be very, very, very difficult. So if you have just joined us, we have to say welcome to this particular championship, the Sprint Championship. In fact, the drivers seem to be beginning to ready up now. So we should get the reverse grid underway here at Budapest in Hungary. I'd just like to say, if you have just joined us, very, very welcome. Very welcome to the Sprint Championship as part of the APPF1 racing community on the F1 2020. We've had the second round of season 2, well, half of round 2 done so far. Mexico was the first race. Hungary is the second of the 2 for today. And this is going to be the reverse grid race, with the race winner of Mexico starting last and the driver who DNF'd first in Mexico starting on reverse grid pole. So drivers will be given an opportunity to sort out their race strategies for this one. We are expecting an unimaginable amount of overtaking at the start, although Budapest's circuit characteristics will make it more challenging for sure. So the session will start in around 30 seconds time. We should be waiting for the drivers to be sorting out their race and fuel strategies. It is an 18-lap race, 25% race distance. So we should expect this to be done in just under half an hour from when the race starts. And the drivers do go off for their formation lap. Chance to learn the circuit. Let's have a look to see which tyres each driver is on what. So everyone apart from Ted, Vardy, Aces versus Kings, and Tia are on the mediums. In fact, Tia, who did not finish the race, will be starting at the back of the grid, as will Gremlin in the McLaren. So Max will be on reverse grid pole ahead of S-Man and Norwich Fan, QB7, Kieser and P4. So as far as I know, drivers who do not finish the first race will not start in the front at the front of the grid for the second race. They've got to finish the race in order to have the opportunity to start on the reverse grid pole, which in my opinion is the right decision. So who will take victory here in Hungary? Can Aces versus Kings make it 2 from 2 today? Or can Ted extend his lead in the championship over his teammate? Just to remind you that the point system for this is different to Formula 1. 20 points for victory, 19 for second, 18 for third, right down to 20th for 1 point, providing they do finish, of course. There's also a point for the fastest lap to whichever driver that sets it. So it doesn't matter which position you are in, you do get that point regardless, which will make the championship even more tasty. And this is a race where racecraft does come into place. It's not just about who's the fastest driver, it's also about how well they can overtake wherever they go. So Max leads the drivers onto the grid. S-Man will be alongside him in the racing points, followed by Norwich Fan. Then it's the AlphaTauris of QB7 and Kieser in the top 5. So just waiting for the last few cars to take their grid spots. And the lights will come on shortly. Any moment now, we should see the first of the 5 lights coming on. How high can Max finish in this one? Can he improve after his dreadful showing in Mexico earlier on today? The lights should be coming on. I'm not sure if it's a bug or something or a glitch. The race should be getting on the way. I'm not sure when it will. Hopefully it will be any second. If you have just joined the stream, we do apologise if you are waiting. So here we go, the 5 lights are coming on. Lights out, and away we go. And S-Man getting off to a poor start in the racing point. Max gets off to a flyer. So Max will take the lead coming out into turn 1. And then we've got the Haas of Norwich Fan, who gets tagged by the Williams and the racing point. And it looks like the AlphaTauri of what looks like QB7, who's got himself up into second place. So Max stays in the lead ahead of the AlphaTauri, and we've got the other Ferrari of Kingston, who's going to be alongside and up into second position by the looks of it. He should be able to make it stick, although QB7 is going to be alongside to take second place going into turn 4, and it's the AlphaTauri gets hold of second place. He's in the Ferrari sandwich. So Max leads ahead of Kingston, who's alongside, coming to turn 6 into the chicane for the first time, and he takes that position. We've got the Williams going over the curves or cutting across at the chicane. He spins. Wayne spins in front of the field, and he's going to fall to the back. That's very bad news for him. What a great chance of a good haul of points there for Wayne, and he's going to fall straight down to the back of the field as Max continues to lead ahead of Kingston. So it's a Ferrari 1-2 so far. There's QB7 ahead of S-Man, G-Ghost, Octavian Racer, he's in 6th, Sumo Gilligan, Norwich Fan, P4 LFS, and Kieser running out the top 10. So far, the drivers who were finishing in the top 3 in the Mexican race Aces versus Kings is 14th, Vardy in 15th, and Ted, who has had a moment somewhere, is in 19th position. Now, what you're seeing in terms of the leaderboard is not the correct race order. Ferraris are 1 and 2, with Max leading and Keaton in 2nd. QBI is in 3rd place. Then it's G-Ghost, who is the reigning champion of this series. He missed the first 2 races last weekend. He'll most certainly be determined to get a race victory here today. He's got a good chance to do that. Now, 4th place would get you 17 points, which is only a 3-point difference to getting a race victory. So every position you gain is a potential championship point for each driver. So you don't want to be taking too many risks. So there's a moment somewhere. I think someone's had a spin. Not sure who, what. Doesn't affect any of the leaders at the moment. Wayne's got a time penalty for exceeding track limits. He's the first one to do that. So the Ferrari's out in front. Now, I wonder if Max will allow Kingston to go through, if he's going to play the team game, or whether he's going to be all out for himself. Ghost has got himself ahead of QB7. Octavian Racer and P4 fancying their chances behind them. You can see the McLarens of Gremlin and Knowing Light coming through as well. They're already up to 7th and 8th. The Renault of Aces Kings already up to 10th behind Keezer Geezer. No way through there into turn 2, so we'll have to wait for the time being. We've got to go, and P4's spun. P4 in the Alfa Romeo spun on the exit of turn 4, and he's going to drop well down from there. So bad news for him. And Kingston's still behind Max. I wonder if there's a glitch or something. Max may not be controlling the car. As far as the human's concerned, he is controlling it. It's just maybe a glitch with the game itself. Trying to defend as hard as he can from Kingston, but Kingston's going to find a way through, and he takes the lead from his teammate. So Kingston out in front. And it looks like Max, it says he's 19th, but that's not the correct race order. So we'll have to wait and see. The leaderboard does update itself properly. So G Ghosts in 3rd place, QB7's in 4th. Gremlin's up to 5th now. Knowing Light in 6th place. And Aces versus Kings, the race winner from Mexico earlier on, is about to go past the AlphaTauri of Keezer Geezer. And he's got them moved on there. In fact, Keezer Geezer's gone for a spin. Keezer Geezer's spun, I think, on the exit of turn 2, and he has. So he's already lost even more ground after that spin. That's bad news for him. Kingston continuing to lead the way. G-Go's determined to get in front of Max, who's at the moment in 2nd place. QB7 picking up a time penalty now. He's the latest to exceed track limits too many times. Gremlin determined to make up after a poor race in Mexico City to bag himself a good haul of points here. Four drivers with time penalties so far. I do predict we will get a few more, at least a few more, before this race is done. Gremlin looking to make a move on QB7. Can't make the move stick into turn 1, but he'll have DRS again for this backstretch here towards turn 2. And it's a really nice manoeuvre there from Gremlin. Puts himself up into 4th position. So Vardy up to 9th place at the moment. Championship leader Ted is currently in 16th. Now I wonder if he's been in the pits as well, so he'll be going on those hard tyres to the end. But can he make up for lost time? He has got track position. He's 13 seconds behind the next man up front of S-Man. Kington still leading. G goes up into second place now. Max gets a time penalty for exceeding track limits too many times. We're coming towards the end of lap 5 now. Kington out in front. 3 seconds clear of G Ghost in second place, and I think Sumo Gilligan's had a spin around turn 4 and 5. So Kington looking to extend his lead, but G Ghost narrowing the gap down all the time. Davlar's the latest to get a time penalty. He's currently in, say, 17th on there, but it should be 18th because Max on the leaderboard, it's showing it's 19th, but in actual fact he's 3rd on the road. It should say 3rd. I'm not sure why it isn't, to be honest. And it looks like Max has spun. Oh no, that's just a glitch with the yellow flag. My apologies there to those who are fans of Max. I do apologise. Kington still leading. Have a look further behind. Knowing light all over the tail of QB7. He'll get the move done into what looks like turn 12. And that's 5th place for the McLaren driver. QB also losing a place to the Renault of Kings. And Kings is up into 6th place. And we've got 2 cars in the pits. Kington and G-Ghost pitting at the same time. And looks like Max is also in, but he's going to be held up. In fact, I may just get away with it, but he's going to lose maybe a second or two in all that. But Kington is going to come out. Where will he be in terms of track position? Not too bad, actually. In fact, he's got good track position. G-Ghost is behind him as well. As is... well, looks like Max in there. But he's struggling to get the power down coming out of there. Might just be a glitch in the system. But Gremlin on track in the lead. Ahead of Knowing Lights. This is a McLaren 1-2 at the moment, but will it remain that way come the end of the race? Now, if you're one of the drivers who... one of the faster drivers in this series, you'll want to try and eke out the life of the tyres and take the tyres as far as you can to ensure you don't get held up in traffic for when you complete your pit stop. Now, when will Gremlin choose to come in? Comes in now. Will his teammate do the same? The answer is no. Kings is going to have DRS behind the McLaren driver. A chance for him to take the lead here. Gremlin will go on to the medium compound. And it looks so that Max has dropped out. He's parked his car. May get disqualified, I think, if this car's left there. I think he's left the session, actually. So, that's a shame. Because it was on course for a good result. Anyway, here's Aces versus Kings. Determined to take the lead at this rate. You can see there's Kington, who's looking to get past the Williams of Patterson. There's Tia in the Mercedes getting out of the way. G-Ghost closing in as well. Now I should think that Knowing Light will come into the pits at the end of this lap. Wayne's got another 3-second time penalty. So, race leader Knowing Light pits. Kings takes the lead, carries on his way. He'll be out. He'll stay out for a few more laps before he comes in for the soft compound. He's got DRS as well, which will benefit him a lot actually on the start-finish straight and coming out of turn 1. Kingston will close in on Patterson. He hasn't got DRS. He's not used the DRS on the start-finish straight, and he won't use it through turns on the exit of turn 1 either. Vardy's got the fastest lap point at the moment. QB7 in the pits as well, in the AlphaTauri. And all this time that Kingston's losing is allowing G-Ghost to close in. Now this is effectively the battle for the lead, but by the time Kings does pit, in fact, Knowing Light and Gremlin, who have already pitted, they're going to be closing in on those guys. In fact, Vardy, who is currently on the soft compound, he's yet to pit in this race. So he's trying to take the tyres as far as he can and not try and get caught up in traffic by the time his pit stop is done. This is versus Kings coming up to a back marker. That's S-Man, who the human player for that is not currently in the session, so it's being controlled by the AI. Here's G-Ghost. He's going to go around the outside of Kingston into turn 13. Can't beat the move stick there. As the Williams of Patterson comes into the pits, G goes down the inside of Kingston and takes the position from him. He's also going to have DRS because he was behind him at the detection point. Can Kingston fight back though? It's going to be very difficult without the use of DRS. And the answer is no. And we've got an AlphaTauri off down at turn 5. He's continued on his way though. Might have been Geezer. But G-Ghost has managed to get himself ahead of Kingston now. And effectively for the race lead. Aces versus Kings. 10 seconds in front, but that gap's going to come down corner by corner with the way G-Ghost is performing out on circuit. Nearly losing it coming out of turn 7. Now G-Ghost has a time penalty to his name, which he'll need to stretch out if he was to keep hold of whatever position he ends up in by the end of the checkered flag. And QB7's had a moment somewhere down at turn 4. No damage done, but he has lost time and places. Now the drivers who have yet to stop in this race are Aces versus Kings, Norwich Fan and Octavian Racer. And Tia as well. In fact, Aces versus Kings is in the pits to go on the set of the soft compound. So he's taking those tyres as far as lap 10. And he's going to go back out on the set of the soft compound tyres. Where will he rejoin? He's behind the two McLarens. He's well ahead of P4 LFS, so that's good news for him. So he's on course for a top 6 finish here, which would make up for the absence of last week, where he didn't compete in it at all. Can he make it 2 wins from 2 today? Now Vardy, who's in 3rd place, I think he's already pitted actually. He may have pitted to go on the set of the soft compound. I think he started on the mediums, he's gone on the soft compound earlier on. So he'll look to make amends on G-Ghost, but he's going to be on worn tyres by the end of the race. So it's going to be difficult for him to hold on. He may fall down as low as 6th, but it's still good points for his championship chances with his teammate Ted in 9th place, which would give Vardy the lead of the championship. Kingston completing lap 11. Here's Kings behind the McLaren of Knowing Light. DRS wide open. Won't do it into turn 1 here. Too far back to do it there. He'll put Knowing Light under pressure nevertheless. DRS is open again for the Renault driver coming into turn 2 now. Round the outside he goes. I think he's got the move done here. And he has done. So Aces versus Kings on his fresh soft tyres has made work of Knowing Light to put himself up into 5th place. And the next man up from him is the other McLaren of Gremlin. Now Kingston, who will be looking to add to his points total. Now before the Mexican round, he had 19 points. Now he obviously added to it in Mexico City, but he's got a great chance of taking victory here because G-Ghost has got his time penalty and Vardy's going to be on worn tyres by the end of the race, and he's under pressure from the likes of Gremlin and soon to be Kings versus Aces. New fastest lap, Aces versus Kings. That would get him a championship point if he keeps hold of that. Octavian Racer, the only driver yet to pit so far. In a few moments' time, we'll have a look at the time penalties as to who has what. I believe G-Ghost has got 3 seconds in terms of time penalties. And now Kingston's got a time penalty, so he's got a 3-second time penalty. So he needs to pull out a gap on those who don't have time penalties in order to keep hold of the race win. Now, Vardy's 6.4 seconds behind Kingston, so that wouldn't be enough for him to take the race victory. So Kingston's in a good position still to just keep the car on track, take it to the checkered flag and get those 20 points. To add to what he had in Mexico and the weekend before. So he's just got 5 laps to go now. On course for the race win. Just like to have a look back to see if there's any other battles going on. There's Gremlin, who's on the tail of Vardy in the Red Bull. Down the inside into turn 2 with DRS. The two make contact a little bit, but I think Gremlin's got... Oh, he's pushed out wide a little bit by Vardy, but all of this is allowing the Renault of Aces versus Kings to close in on them. And this is going to go right all the way to the checkered flag, I would imagine, but Vardy's tyres are going to be worn before the end of this. And this is good news for Kingston, actually, because whilst the likes of G-Goes, Vardy, Gremlin, Aces versus Kings are fighting over a position, it's allowing him to further his gap. And now the gap between him and Vardy is down to, at the moment, 3.9 seconds. He's still ahead on the road, but if Vardy continues closing down the gap on him all the time, or in fact G-Ghost, then the race win could be under threat. 4 laps remaining here. Who will take victory in Hungary? And you've got the Renault Aces Kings down the inside, and he's got the move down into 4th position, although Gremlin gets the switchback completed on him to get 4th place back. Great racing between those two drivers. Vardy will be rubbing his hands together whilst these two are fighting, because it's allowing him to pull out a gap on them a little bit. But he's not out of the woods yet by any stretch of the imagination. The gap between Vardy and Kingston, 3.5 seconds, or 3.6 should I say, maybe 3.7. Race victory still in Kingston's hands for the time being. But let's have a look at the penalties now. This is a good point to have a look. 3 seconds. So Kingston has a 3-second time penalty, as does G-Ghost. So if G-Ghost is going to win this race, not only would he need to pass Kingston, but he needs to pull out a gap on those behind him who do not have time penalties. And these next 3 laps could change it. Vardy under pressure from Gremlin and Aces versus Kings. This is going to be very tough for him to take hold of 3rd position, or in fact 2nd. Can Gremlin get the job done on the start-finish straight? Vardy will need to go defensive here. Oh, he gets a nudge there from Gremlin, goes down on the inside, and he's got the move done, and with DRS to help him keep hold of that position. But I think Vardy's going to be back for more, though, into turn 2. Vardy down the inside, the 2 touch again. Gremlin trying to keep his nose in there, and this is allowing Aces versus Kings to get involved, and Vardy goes to the grass on the outside. Gremlin stays behind him. That was very much handbags between those two. Gremlin not giving up on it. Vardy most certainly not giving up on it, and neither is Aces versus Kings. And this is good news. In fact, G-Ghost has got ahead of Kingston in all of this, and G-Ghost has taken the lead from Kingston with 3 laps remaining. So G-Ghost on course for the race victory, the reigning champion, on course for his first victory of the season, unless Vardy can get to within 3 seconds of him by the end of the race. So Gremlin going to go down the inside once again into the penultimate turn. Vardy, very well placed. Two drivers nearly banging wheels again. Now can Vardy go defensive once more on the start-finish straight. 2 laps to go here at the Hungary ring. Gremlin with DRS. Goes to the outside of the Red Bull. To the outside. Vardy will run him out wide as far as he can. Leaves him enough space. Gremlin will get good traction out of there. Stays behind him through turn 2. Not doing the same as what he did before. The Renault of Aces versus Kings. Looking to, I think, maybe retain his position for the time being. He'll be thinking about the championship as well, as would Gremlin, although he needs to try and finish ahead of Vardy to make up the ground lost from his poor performance in Mexico. In fact, Aces versus King nearly got the switch back. Gremlin went heavily over the curbs on the XO turn 7, and he's not able to get the move done. So Kings is not able to get the move done on Gremlin. That's G Ghost out of DRS range from Kingston, so he's on course for the race victory. As the leaders are about to begin the final lap of this one, we want to go back to the battle for 3rd place, as Vardy is now going to be most certainly under pressure from the likes of Gremlin, Kings, and possibly Knowing Light, who's got involved in all this now. He'll be watching how it plays out. 1 lap to go here. This is the last time the drivers will battle it out on the start-finish straight. Gremlin goes to the outside once again. Outbreaks himself a little bit. Has he got the move done? Yes, he has. So he takes 3rd place from the Red Bull of Vardy, and it looks as though Kings is going to get past him as well. Down into turn 2. And Aces versus Kings gets the job done. He's up to 4th as well. Now, can Knowing Light get past the Red Bull? This is not over yet. In fact, the Red Bull's back for more here. Nearly got back into 4th position on the road. In fact, Knowing Light taps him and gets up into 5th position. Now, one of the stewards will take a look at that, because Knowing Light did give Vardy a nudge, but I'm not sure if there was much Knowing Light could do about that. But this is G Ghost leading by nearly a couple of seconds over Kingston. Just 2 more corners to go for him now. G Ghost making his way through the back markers. Rounding the last turn. Crossing over the line to win here in Hungary. He takes the Hungarian Grand Prix victory ahead of Kingston in this reverse grid race. Gremlin will come home in 3rd place ahead of Aces versus Kings. Knowing Light did get past Vardy on the last lap as well. So Vardy will be in 6th place. Patterson, even with the 3-second time penalty, will be in 7th place for Williams. Ted will be in 8th. As far as I know, he will lose the lead in the championship because of Vardy's fastest lap point. Or Aces versus Kings has got that point, actually, I think. We'll have a look anyway. P4 LFS will be 9th ahead of Wayne, and it's for Faceless Arms in 11th, followed by Delvalar in 12th. In fact, Wayne's going to have... it's going to lose a position, I think, or 2 with his time penalty. QB7 will be in 13th place ahead of Sumo Gilligan. Then it's Norwich Phone in 15th ahead of Keezy Geezer, Octavian Racer. S-Man will be 18th ahead of Max, and Tia, who I don't believe is going to get that point for finishing in 20th place. So a good victory all round for G Ghost, putting in a good performance in the 2 races today, including today with the race victory. The reigning champion back in good form. Can he keep it that way between now and the end of season 2 of the APPF1 Sprint Championship? Really good stuff from him, and he'll look to continue that form between now and the end of the season. We're just waiting for Norwich fan to cross over the line. He was the last man on the lead lap. Let's cross over the line now. Just waiting for Tier 1 to cross over the line. I'm not sure if he has done yet. But either way, G Ghost wins ahead of Kingston, and it's Gremlin, Aces versus Kings, Knowing Light, Vardy in 6th. Just want to take a look at the fastest lap point. It was Aces versus Kings who got the fastest lap, so he gets an extra point for that. So that's a victory and a 4th place and a fastest lap. So really good day for Aces versus Kings to put himself potentially in championship contention for the weeks ahead. Should he continue racing in this championship, of course. I'd like to think he would do. I think he's enjoyed today's events. So why not come back for more? So that is that. Really good 2 races today. Excellent overtaking from the drivers. Got some good battles out on the circuit. This is what it's all about. The APPF1 Sprint Championship. It's not just about who's the fastest, but who can produce the best racecraft out of all the drivers and maintain a good level of consistency. Excellent stuff. Gremlin doing well from the back as well. Brilliant drive from him. But it's G Ghost's race win, bagging the 20 points for his title defence. He'll look to extend that going into the coming races. So brilliant, brilliant stuff. So on the podium, Kingston and Gremlin celebrating with him. Ted takes the lead of the championship by 1 point over his teammate Vardy, with the likes of Known Light still very much in contention for the title race, as is Gremlin and Patterson as well. So that is all for today. We'll update you with the championship standings, all the championship standings. If you are involved in this series, you can most definitely find out in the Discord chat. And if the host decides to publish the standings, we'll find out soon enough who is where in the championship before next weekend's race. Now, you want to know where they'll be racing next weekend? On the 25th of April, 5:45 British Summer Time. Silverstone will be the first race, one shot qualifying, and then 25% race distance race. And Singapore will host the reverse grid race shortly after that as well. So that's next weekend on the 25th of April, 5:45 PM British Summer Time. I'm Tom Cairns. I'll speak to you again soon when the APPF1 Sprint Championship returns.